To improve our efficiencies, we can create templates and favorite files so that the resources that we use the most often are easily accessed. When creating a new file, we're going to use a template instead of a blank document, and that template will include things related to file structure like design layers, sheet layers, classes. It'll also include resources that are used in every project, and that might include things like a title block, a graphic scale bar, text styles, and our plant list. We want to keep the file size of our template small so that it doesn't slow our file down. And so for resources that we use often, but not necessarily for every project, we save those in a favorites file for easy access. And this would include things like wall styles, hardscape styles, and plant styles. So to get started, I'm just going to come over and go File and New so that I'm working in a blank document. And the first thing that I want to do is import some design layers. So I'm going to open up the organization dialog box. And to do that, I'm just going to click on this layers icon and then make sure that I'm under the design layers tab. So I'm going to click on new, and I can manually enter in all of the design layers if I'd like, but I can also come over here and import design layers from another file. So I'm going to go ahead and select Import Design Layers and then choose. I'm going to find a file from a previous lesson where I entered in design layers in the correct stacking order. So I'm going to select that and then click Open. And then right here, this is showing me all of those layers. So I'm going to import all of those. If I were doing an import where there were objects on those different layers that I also wanted to import, I could always select this box right here for Import Layer Objects. But in this case, I just want to import the design layers. So I'll go ahead, select all of those, and then at the bottom, click OK. And then one thing that I do need to pay attention to is that the scale is different for everything. So I will simply click on one of these design layers, click Edit, and then come up here, click Scale. I would like a 1/8 scale for everything. I'll come over here for the paper scale and select all layers, click OK, click OK. Now all of my scales match. I'm verifying that the stacking order is correct, and so I just have that original design layer from my untitled file, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Yes, I would like to delete that. Click OK, and so now I have all of my design layers. For the sheet layers, I'm going to go ahead and just enter in a sheet layer here. So for sheet number 1, that's going to be my hardscape plan. And what I like to do for my workflow is I will have one sheet layer that I have set up. And what that means is that the page size is correct. It has a completed title block in there, including the graphic scale bar and a viewport of the drawing area. And then when I'm ready to make a planting plan, I will just duplicate the hardscape plan. So to do that, I would just right click over here and go to duplicate. And then I just rename that duplicate planting plan, and then I change the layer visibilities to change it from a hardscape plan to a planting plan. So I don't actually like to start off with a lot of different sheet layers for the different plans. So while I have the hardscape plan up over here, I do want to go ahead. This is going to be, it's currently set up as an 8x10. I want to come over here and change this page setup. And so I'm going to do a US Arc D, click OK, click OK again. The only other thing that I might set up is to include a plant list. So I'm just going to right click, click New, and then I will just come down here to Sheet Title and do Plant List. And then in this case, it is going to be an 8x10 sheet of paper. I'm going to come back to the hardscape plan sheet layer. Make that the active layer, and then I'm going to come and under Dimensions and Notes, I'm going to find a title block that I'd like to use. In my case, I'm going to go with the simple title block 01. Click once to place that in the drawing. And then I can't add a graphic scale bar to my drawing right here in the sheet layer because I don't have a viewport yet. But what I can do is come back over here to the design layers, and under the text design layers, kind of scroll out and off to the side. And I can place a graphic scale bar kind of over here off to the side that I will then copy and paste into the viewport once I create it. So let's come over here and find the graphic scale bar. There's my graphic scale bar, so I'll click on that. I'm just going to place it off to the side over here. And then for the formatting for the major length, I'm going to go ahead and do 1 foot. I'll have 5 of those minor divisions. For the major length, I'm going to go with 5-foot intervals, and I'm going to go ahead and do 2 of those major divisions, and I'll leave it as the zigzag. Click OK, and then just zoom in here, make sure that that looks okay. And I think instead of doing 5 foot for the major divisions, I'm going to go ahead and do 10 feet for that one. There we go. So once again, this graphic scale bar is just going to live here on my text design layer, and then when I have a viewport that I'm ready to add that to the viewport annotations, I will just come over here to the design layer and then copy and paste that into the viewport annotations for that specific viewport.